Once again, I'm here cutting biomass. This is in the future dog enclosure, and stuff has been growing wildly. And I wanted to show you how that looks like. So you see where I'm standing. This is a very thick mat of grass. And also I cut already some of it on the top. There is more to the bottom. I don't intend to cut this all the way to the ground. The plants will probably rise up. And so this is the situation here. This is very nice. And you see there I cut yesterday. And it's actually very hard to go deep because there is a lot of things. Somewhere in here there are also some pig heads, but they are buried by now. And also this gets buried. The water line that runs there, you can't see it anymore. It gets buried by all the grass. And of course this creates an organic layer on top of the soil that originally was there. And in that the bacteria can work, given that there is not too much sunlight, the UV rays. What I also can report is that there are quite a few frogs in here. They jump away when I come closer with the machine. So this is also their habitat. And soon when the rain comes back, there was a few sprinkles. When this fills up, then of course we will have the frog concert again. So this is working here in this very small place. And that future dog enclosure, yeah, it will be a dog enclosure, but only here and there for events, like I said. So they will not be in here all the time. They would destroy it. But when they have to be in here a few days, then it will be nice, because there will be shade and it will be soft. And the intention is to give them also a little bit of furniture. So little houses, things to play, things to sit on, something like that. So, well, little things that I can do over time. But it's also a prototype for the plant stuff. As you can see, this has grown very well, thanks to the irrigation and the heat and the sunshine and all this. So you see, this is definitely looking like a little forest in there. Despite the issues that we had with the frost in early May when these trees suffered, they have come back. Not all equally. For example, that one there and this one did not. But this one has made a comeback. So things are progressing. I assume next year we will have tall trees. You see, there, this is big, not as big as in the vegetable garden, the veggie garden. Yeah, over there. Well, now it's direct sunlight. You might have a hard time. It's working, so you can see it. And I will continue cutting here to make soil. So this method is definitely working. And yeah, I can also see that in the future, maybe out there in these areas, I can also mow something like the mower attachment that I have for the BCS tractor. So some people have been asking. So yes, I do have a BCS tractor, this two-wheel thing, and it has a mower attachment. And this is not for grass, I think. This is more for grain and other things. But it does have it. Well, the grasses can also be very high. So I've never tried this with this. And I actually don't like it that much because it has a diesel engine and it makes noise all the time. While right now it's quiet. And I have this machine, and the moment I press the button there is noise. But when I release it, it's quiet. So that's why I like everything electrical so much. And I wish this BCS would also be electrical. One day they will be. I am here in this failed watermelon experiment. By the way, you can also see very clearly the shade that the trees that is behind me is now casting. So I just used this tool to cut away all the pioneer species, the weeds that have been very high. The Bermuda grass is still in there, it's okay. But the watermelons, that's a problem. But let me show you around. So there are still some watermelon plants alive. You might see one here that even has a flower. Of course, it's not very late in the year, but you see that plant there is alive. It comes from somewhere here and goes right there. There's another flower. There's also one, because some got planted right here, very close to the trunk of this tree. So the overwhelming occurred there. There is another that is alive. You might see the yellow flower there. And here on the other side, there are also a few. But I very much doubt that this will turn into watermelons. There's also some that are stacking up there. There's also some of the flowers that are placed here. So this is failed, but someone is still trying. So I stopped cutting away here because I don't want to destroy it. But I don't expect anything to come out of that. What I see there is a giant cabbage. That's quite interesting. And I will continue cutting over there. This is all harder stuff, so I continue to use the knife. That area is just grass, so this is a lot easier. But here, I learned this the last time. I will lose a lot of string and have to extend it all the time. Using the knife is better in this case. But yeah, that's how this stands at the moment. It's a bit sad, because watermelons would have been nice. But okay, this area will be a shady area, thanks to the now bigger and bigger trees. And as we have been talking about pruning and all this, yes, of course, there will be more pruning below. So, for example, that branch there can certainly go. but I don't want to do this right now because the leaves will fall soon, and then I can prune later. I want the leaves to help to make roots, so that the tree is less dependent on surface watering next year when the tree sprouts. So my thought. There is actually a watermelon forming, and as long as this gets enough sunlight, then it might actually work, and also water, both things. So this is round, not like the other one. And right now you can see we are here in the shade. The sun is behind the tree. Oh, it is high, so there you can see it. But the tree casts a shadow here. And as the sun will move, it will move here to the right, then we will get sunlight here. So this whole area here will get sunlight after the sun has moved around. So let me step back and show you the shadow. So here you can see the shadow of the tree, that one here, the one with the bigger trunk. And of course, once this is 5 meters taller, and it will be, and then the shadow will be outside of this area. But then these others might also cast a shadow, but I think their shadow will go somewhere there. So it will be interesting. And I planted this one here, thinking ahead, so that the smaller one and the bigger one eventually will cast a shadow here in this area somehow. So this is my prototype here, so that I can figure out how to make the, let's call it alley cropping, work later. So that would be then such an alley. And these one there, look how giant they are. I planted them not long ago, a couple of months ago. At the beginning of summer I planted them. And you see, they are definitely taller than a human now. So it's very impressive. But then the soil there has been loose. Therefore this works. But it's also a good data point. So these trees are a great tool, definitely. And by the way, there's the other giant cabbage. I will cut around it, so that it also makes root. That's biomass, so there is no purpose for it. Pigs would eat it, but we can't have pigs in here. So I came out again to continue cutting here, and you might think that this is a solid surface of grass. Let me show you something. So there is a low spot, and it is full of water. It's like a swamp. And that's why only certain grasses apparently thrive here. And they do. And all this, of course, makes biomass, because it will rot and decompose there in the presence of a lot of water. And I just have been thinking about this idea of alley cropping. You know, when you are in a situation, do something like this. Of course, you have a lot of time to think about stuff, and so I do. And I noticed that there are a lot of mowers that are RC controlled. So they have a petrol, a gas engine, but you can control them via radio from a short distance. And I think something like that, these devices run on tracks, I might use in the future. Not here, because this is a little bit, well, they also deal with that. But I wanted to say a bit hilly, but yeah. And maybe when it's of a type flail mower, where things get out of the way when there's a stone or something else, that might be a good idea. So I can see that in the future. Yeah, of course, that future requires first more like this. But as this is the intention, this might be a good extension to continue in that direction. So when I create more over there, these areas, then maybe this is a tool. So right now, this works very well. And the only thing that would help me to save time is that I don't have to be present. So the only mower that I know that gives me free time is animals. Geese, for example. Yeah, geese would eat this instead of me mowing it. And even with an RC controlled mower, I still have to be there. So this does not run unattended. And the ones can actually work unattended, well, they are not readily available. It will come, but they are not readily available. So the biological version, called geese, is certainly the best thing to do. And I would actually introduce some animals in this little piece here, but the condition is that it has to be fenced so that the dogs can't go in there and molest the other animals, which unfortunately they will, because everything that is unknown is immediately a threat and needs to leave or be caught. So therefore, that is not a quick option. If I had just one dog, yeah, that would be different. But with 7, that's a totally different thing. As I am cutting also here with the knife part, because that stuff is very hard and it's the only one that currently comes up. The grasses come later. Those are cool season grasses. There are not a lot of warm season grasses here yet. And as I'm doing this, I'm making a discovery. Look at that. Here, in between this clearing that I created by pruning, we have additional Paulownia trees. They come out of the root systems of the other trees. It's the same as with this here, where it comes out of that stem. I think this one I should remove, because down there this trunk does not need it. It should go up. That is more helpful, and it does. And you see, this is one of those that suffered, and it came back with a vengeance. But those here, this is new, and I'm not going to cut them just yet. So they will be independent trees, I believe, but somehow they come out of the root system of one of the 3 trees all around. So I let this be. But what I will cut away is, for example, that stuff there, so that this area stays open, and I expect some more grasses like this. Of course, they will now be cold season grasses, but nonetheless, this should be grassy, and it's a very nice thing in here. So I am enjoying the effect of a closed canopy. It is moist in here, and of course it's also a bit cooler, but still feels pretty hot, like a tropical rainforest. And as I know how that feels, it reminds me of it. So this is very lovely, and I'm looking forward to more of that. And what I also can mention, as you see down there, this is wood, And then somewhere here, it begins to turn into this green stuff, which is just a pipe. And the green thing has been growing. You will probably not see this well on camera, but I can guesstimate that it has grown 2 meters. Or maybe a little bit more out of that. So all the way to the top. So once it grows for real. So this is very positive, what you can see here. And this is also the future. So I hope to have a lot of this around between the oak trees. So I should stress that this is all supposed to be between the oak trees. So there is absolutely no intention, I would be crazy, to do anything to these oak trees. Instead, this with the Paulownias should help them, because it means there will be more moisture and nutrition and all that available. Instead of a dying place, I get a thriving place. And this is not supposed to be ever a Paulownia monoculture, as some people might suspect, because that's how it always goes. No, it is not supposed to be like that. This guy is struggling. The other one there also was struggling. But now with a little bit lower temperature, moisture will actually reach it. I still have this thing that I might need to dig a trench here. And I might not be able to get into this very well with that big backhoe over there. This trench should have been dug a long time ago. But there was always something else. But maybe I can find someone who has an actual mini excavator and will do this, or even by hand, at least, to get under the fence. Or 2 fences, actually, partially. Because the idea is that there will be a pipe, a grey water pipe, that should go into the grey water pond. Of course, you should not do these things after all the planting. And it's unfortunately that we are where we are, but that's where we are. So that is a little thing for later, which is why I have not done anything with those holes that were created, and I can't remember why. But yeah, past is the past. So this looks very nice, and I'm very happy with the new growth of all the new trees, and so it shall continue.